All right, here we go. Back for another episode, Robbie. These are my
Yeah,
favorite to do these webinars with you
yeah, I love doing these too.
because I don't have to
Very,
do anything. I just ask you questions. Like you have to do all this preparation and you have to figure out how you're gonna demo everything and I
yeah,
just I just show up and go, "Oh, how's it work? Oh, nice."
yeah. I mean, for me as well, it's like you work on something for months, and then
Yeah.
this your time to show the small details that you worked on. So yeah, I enjoy these.
Well, should we get in right away? I mean, I see a bunch of attendees already joined. We got Carrie saying sup to us. It's weird not seeing his little avatar in the webinar
Yeah,
like he is on the roundtables. But so today we're talking about all of the enhancements on QGuard. And you guys have been busy, Robbie, right? There's a lot of
yeah,
requested features when we initially came out. I mean, a lot of it was around just-in-time accounts too. It's sort of a new product into the channel. Not many MSPs have been doing it before. And so when we came out with the first MSPI's version of it, MSPI's, right? Multi-tenant and all that. There's a lot of feature requests, a lot of tips, a lot of feedback. And you guys have been hard at work chipping away. So today we're going to show some of the recent updates, where things are going, what's out in preview, hint, hint, um, what's going to be out soon. Should we get into it?
yeah, yeah. We have yeah. So just to recap, we released Active Directory on-premise just-in-time accounts a few months back. We had a lot planned at that time. We also included a lot of the feedback we were getting on those just-in-time accounts. So yeah, we've done a lot. So we'll be showing all those enhancements today.
Yeah, so if you're on here, good chance you know who Robbie and I are. I'm the Vice President of Revenue out in channel at all the events, talking about the partners. And Robbie is our product lead. He has been in here really helping us get organized and our process for putting out product updates is we actually take in requests from the community, and then we have like the voting system that everyone's super familiar with. It used to be something else, now it's on Pendo. And then we have our monthly roundtables where we take feedback and do live polls there. And then we have our partner advisory council. And then we internally have feedback sessions too. So there's a lot to like put together and prioritize and say, we're going to prioritize two things in the next month, there'll be 100 requests that we have to choose from. And Robbie is able to balance partner feedback with vision of the company and help, get these things out and organized. And, he does a lot for us and works with partners a ton. So there's your
Yeah,
introduction, Robbie.
yeah, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I work with our teams here. One thing I would say, if you haven't noticed, when you're logged into the dashboard on the bottom right side, we have a small widget. From there, you can submit your feature request and you can also see all the things we've been releasing. So that's your how to stay up to date on things that are getting released.
Yeah, so I'm sure everyone on here is familiar with QGuard, but if you're not, you're new to Cyber QP, or you're just covering it. QGuard is a privileged access management tool. So privileged access management is a big area that covers the discovery, monitoring, and management of privileged accounts. We do a lot of different things. We help MSPs basically go out and discover all of the admin accounts on their local machines, servers, Office 365, doing a number of different ways. And then we'll actually help them manage them by rotating the passwords, which a lot of people are familiar with, storing them in our technician vault, or creating just-in-time accounts, which are named accounts created on the fly and disabled when not in use. If you're not familiar with the just-in-time account, basically the idea is instead of having a shared admin account on a server that a bunch of techs log into, if Robbie is one of your technicians and wants to log in that server, an account on the server will be provisioned to him, and he will temporarily have access just in time to that server with the least amount of privileges he needs to do that job. And then when Robbie is done with it, the privileges will be taken away. The account will be disabled or deleted or something like that. In our case, disabled. And then the privileges will be removed and the passwords rotated. And that way the account is unique to Robbie. It's not a shared password. And but you're not having, 500 admin accounts because you have 5 technicians on 100 servers. So that's the long elevator ride pitch on how just-in-time accounts work and how they fit in. I think people are pretty familiar with these use cases though, but Robbie, like we released just-in-time accounts a few months ago, and the first iteration, was all through the dashboard or a desktop app, AD only. There was some things that MSPs requested and enhancements, and it's been a long road for putting updates through. So I think it would be good to give the community a refresher on sort of what we've done and where we're at now. I even talked to people where they request things and we're like, oh no, we actually did that in our latest release, like whatever, last month or a couple weeks ago. So why don't you take us through like the history of like from when we started to how we got to where we are now with updates, product updates.
Yeah, for sure. So and I will do a demo right after this where I would also show you some of these things. But just quickly going through the list. So now you have the capability to delete just-in-time accounts from the dashboard. And this is capability for whoever created the account, but also for the admins, the super and primary roles on the dashboard to see the just-in-time accounts created by their team and be able to delete those. So that's now available. The other thing we got feedback where we were earlier creating the just-in-time accounts under the user's organizational unit within the Active Directory. And then, of course, as you create accounts, they may get crowded. So we've also moved that to a dedicated OU in the directory. It's named just-in-time accounts. So now, and any domain admin can go in there and see that OU and see all the accounts that exist there. So it's easy to manage, also easy to clean up in case you want to, although we do allow managing those accounts through the dashboard, so you don't have to go to the domain. Other enhancement we added was this fail-safe for just-in-time account expiration. So as Jimmy was saying, the way these are designed, they're time-bound. So you choose a duration and you use it, and then you don't need to worry about it, and the account would be expired. Password would be rotated and its privilege would be removed. So the fail-safe we added was, like, what if our agent is offline at the time? How are we going to disable the account? How are we going to rotate the password? So for that one, we now actually set the expiration on the directory itself. So even if our agent is offline, that account is going to get expired on that time. So when you go to then log in with that account, it won't work. We will also send you email alerts and events for that failure. So you could go and figure out what would cause the issue. So that's the fail-safe we introduced. Also, of course, we now block importing just-in-time accounts into like the shared admin accounts within CyberQP, because those are shared across your team. So now you would not be able to import just-in-time accounts either through manual import or automatic import. So just-in-time account is only available to whoever created it, the username and password. We also now send email notifications to the admins whenever a new JIT account is created or an existing one is enabled. We plan to add a lot more alerting there, also optional alerts that you can subscribe to. For now, the really important ones are a new JIT account, privileged account is created, it's enabled, and very soon we're going to send one where, as I said, it's disabled too. Finally, you're able to manage the JIT accounts from the dashboard. So big request was a lot of your team members may be on Mac devices and they cannot use the desktop app or they have to use a VM, a virtual machine, to use the desktop app to then manage the JIT accounts. So now JIT accounts, you can manage them directly from the dashboard, and I'll show you how that's done. Those are main things. There were a lot more smaller enhancements that we have done, but these are worth noting, the features we've developed over the last couple of months.
So Robbie, if I log in my account today, I can now do dashboard launch from JIT. Like I don't have to have the software anymore.
Yes, you don't need to have the desktop app. You log into your dashboard and you can start. Of course, if you have to opt in, you have to enable just-in-time feature from the settings. But if it's enabled, you'll be able to create, enable, delete, manage basically JIT accounts from there. It's generally available, so if open to everyone who has JIT enabled. There are some features I'll demo that are in early access, so those would not be available to everyone. So you'll have to reach out to us if you're really interested in those, and we can get you onboarded.
Great, let's get into it.
Okay, so let me share my screen. I'll be doing a live demo. So,
Robbie, you're getting questions on what type of headset you use because your audio is so phenomenal.
oh, these are Jabra wired ones. So I always struggle with I have the AirPods, the Apple ones. They're great, but they sometimes cause issues. The wire is very reliable. Although I would love to have the same quality in wireless, it's not the same. Okay. Yeah, so I have, so I'm logged into one of my accounts on production. Within this tenant, I have 3 customers here. Robbie Company is the one that I'll mainly be working with. This is fully set up with the agents and everything. If I go to the settings, I want to show where you can enable the just-in-time accounts. If you're not using them already, you can go to settings, and from here, you'll be able to enable the JIT accounts. You will notice I have them enabled for Active Directory, Office 365, and local. And I've also specified what security groups, what privileged security groups would be allowed to my team, and then who on my team should be able to use the just-in-time accounts. I'll go in detail setting this up after, but basically the first step is you set up just-in-time access, define this, and then when you go to one of the customers, so if I go to customers page, going to Robbie Company, you'll notice a new entry here for just-in-time accounts. And if you go there, you'll be able to see your existing just-in-time accounts there. Now I'm logged into as a primary, so I get to see just-in-time accounts from other users too. So Linda, for example, that's on my team, has created a JIT account. Neil has one, and I have one here. But I'm only able to access the passwords for the one that I own, but I'm still able to delete the JIT accounts that are created by my team. So this is if, say, a technician leaves, you can go in and delete all the JIT accounts from here. So I may have shared some of this before. I'm going into detail because some of you may be new, not familiar with JIT accounts. So if you are already using it, maybe some of these things you already know, but I'll go into more detail here.
And feel free to ask questions along the way. If anyone has
Yeah.
questions, I can pepper Robbie with them. Here they go. Oh, there
Yeah.
we go.
So a few details I see, I of course see the username. I see the computer. If it's a local JIT account, I'll see the machine that the account is for. When was it created? What is the current status of this account? So you will notice I have these 3 accounts that are disabled. So they're not in use. And then there are 2 accounts that are enabled. So this one, for example, the last one, is getting expired in like 10, 15, in I think 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah, and I can still continue to use this account. Yeah, so that's just seeing all the accounts from here. Of course, I can delete a JIT account. I don't want to delete others. I'll probably delete mine after. The other thing you can do is create an account. So let me show you how to delete an account. That's easy. You can click on delete account. Now what that's going to do is, yeah, it basically delete the account, and it deletes from the directory, from the domain. It also deletes profiles that may be created on the domain, or so we do a full cleanup when a JIT account is deleted, so we don't leave things behind. Other
Rafi, you had a
management.
couple questions come in.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind me jumping here. Um, you had a question around the like rights to create just-in-time accounts. So the question read, why are just-in-time accounts only allowed for the most elevated cyber QP roles? So maybe you could address that, and also talk a little bit about the newer features around restricting access and the more granular security groups.
Yeah, so feel free to clarify. But the way I understand is, I think you're referring to the settings and where I have restrict to super and primary, that those are the
Yep.
most elevated roles. So this is actually my setting here. Later, I want to disable it now because I want to create a JIT account, or I'll show you. You can choose login groups. So you can create groups within CyberQP, add either an engineer or a manager role to that, and then you can choose them here as an access option. So this is one of the options. There's also an option to use a login group, and that way you can allow a help desk or an engineer role to use the JIT accounts.
And Robbie, you've gotten 4 questions now on when Office 365 or Azure AD will be available. So I'm not sure if you want to address that now or in
Yeah,
a couple of minutes
so
or
yeah, I'll do a demo. So yes, the Office 365 JIT accounts are we're gonna do. In fact, it's already enabled on my account here. So if you notice, I have Office 365 set up. This is not generally available. So if you want to use it right away, please share here, give your email, and I'll add you to early access. We're still internally testing it and testing with few of our partners before we make it available to everyone. The generally availability is planned for early November.
so instead of putting their like at the end, there's going to be a whole slide about opting in, but I know people are like on right now. Jared, why don't you post the link where people can register to get early access? There you go.
Yeah.
I'm spoiling all the surprises, or I'll be sorry. But just,
No
you know,
worries.
when 5 people ask, I gotta jump right to it.
Yeah. Other question I read, my goal is to restrict my help desk to JIT only access. Okay, so I'll show, we have added a feature where you can now restrict access to shared admin accounts, service accounts. So yeah, it's with what we have out there, it's possible to achieve that. What you would do is add a help desk to a login group, then make that group give access to JIT. Maybe let's just address that now before I go there. So what I would do here is I would go to a company, I'll go to admin accounts, I'll select them all, or maybe I want to leave one account for the help desk. You will now notice a new setting here, manage access. So I'll click on that and I get a few options there. First is all login users with access to this customer. So this is if somebody has access to this customer, they should also have access to these accounts. The second option is no, only the super and primary roles should have access to these accounts. And the third one is I want to specify groups who should have access. So for this one, I would create a help desk group. I would give them access, or in this case, you actually don't want to give them access, so I'll restrict them to super and primary, and then I'll save it. So when a help desk role log in, they will only see one account here. you can do the same for service accounts now, where I can select all and I can restrict them to super and primary roles only. So when a help desk logs in, they won't see any of the admin accounts and service accounts. And you have given them access to JIT accounts, so they'll be able to create just-in-time accounts. So yeah, that's how you would achieve it. This was one of the requests where, yeah, we have JIT accounts, but we can't really restrict access to shared admin accounts. So everyone's still going to use those accounts. So we added this feature basically to give you more control on how you want your techs to use the privileged accounts.
Robbie, I know you had shown it a second ago. Could you go back to deleting the accounts and clarify two things? Can you delete just in time for multiple companies at a time? And basically, the use case is a text leaving, and you want to
Right.
ensure that their JIT accounts are disabled.
Yeah, so not right now, but that's on our plan. So next few things we're going to do are basically around that. So we're going to have a global menu here. So here at this level, you have just-in-time accounts menu that will list your just-in-time accounts across all customers and give you an option to basically do the same where you want to bulk disable them, bulk delete them. So I agree. I think right now it's going to be a little bit of work to delete once attack leaves. We're working on that. I would say, however, that since these are just in time and they have a time expiration, so if the text leaving, their account still would be disabled and the password would be rotated and the privilege would be removed. So even if they have password, they won't be able to use that for based depending on how long the account was created. But I agree. I think you still want to go clean up. So we're gonna have that global JIT menu to do that.
Thanks for clarifying, Robbie. And then you answered this one as well, but I just want to cover it too again. The question was, can customer users have access to just-in-time accounts? And then, I think there's like two different use cases for this. One is you're in a co-managed IT situation, and for that specific tenant, you want to give that IT director or IT contact at that company just-in-time account access. And then
Yeah.
a different situation might be like a contractor account, or like an end user needs to like install some system with admin rights. Um, and maybe you could talk about the difference between those two. And then also even the contractor sharing feature, how it solves some of those use cases for uh
Yeah.
yep.
Right. Yeah. So um, uh, that's possible. So, but there are a few things we can do there to make it even easier. So what you would do right now is you will create a new uh, team member, new user. You'll choose one of the roles. Either you want to make it a engineer or a help desk, let's say engineer, and you will just give them access to one company. That could be a co-managed or even a contractor where you want to give them access to one company. And then you would basically follow the same thing that you did earlier. You would restrict access to all the admin accounts, service accounts, other things, and still add that login group to JIT access. So they get access to just-in-time accounts for one customer, and they're able to log into the dashboard and basically manage the accounts and everything. So that's the same case. What you could do with a contractor. Contractor could have access to multiple customers, but they don't have access to the shared admin accounts and service accounts. Big limitation earlier was you if you had access to the customer, you would have access to all the shared admin accounts. So I think that was a big pain that we tried to solve with the feature.
And then another question is Mac OS supported yet with just-in-time or any QP service? So maybe answer the difference between our agent and the types of accounts we can work with versus launching just-in-time accounts through a Mac device, or being like a technician using a Mac device.
Right. Yeah. So a technician using a Mac device, but then remoting into a Windows machine, that's the use case that would work right now where, yeah, because the just-in-time accounts are for Windows machines, so Office, Azure, local. The just-in-time account for Mac devices will have to come up with our Mac agent, which is a requested feature. But it's still not planned yet, but it's on our list to eventually work on a Mac agent and basically provide the same functionality on Mac devices too.
Yeah, so we currently don't
Yeah,
manage Mac admin accounts.
yeah,
We work
not
with,
yeah, right.
yep, local Windows, Azure AD, Office 365, Entra AD, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah,
and
they keep changing. I haven't
AD.
changed the names here because I don't know what they're gonna change to in future. Still calling them Office 365.
Okay, great. Thanks for answering those 14 questions. Uh, I'll let you continue with your demo if you even remember where you were at in the process.
Yeah, so I was showing managing just in time from the dashboard. So I showed you can see all the JIT accounts. Of course, if a help desk login rolls in, they will just see their accounts. They won't see accounts created by others. Now let's go create a JIT account. So I'll click on a create button. A username is auto-generated. You can change it to something else. Like if you have like a Duo, if you're using Duo, you want to use a specific username, you can change it. Of course, it should be unique on the domain. So if you're already using it, it won't allow you. But otherwise, you can edit it if you want. When creating, you're able to choose a duration. So do you want it for 1 hour, 4 hour, or a longer duration? One of the requests we've got was for even a config option to choose which durations you want to allow your team to choose. So we're also working on that. So I'll be able to say, no, I don't really want anybody creating 7-day or 30-day JIT accounts. Right now, these are the duration options here. So I'll choose 1 hour. I'll choose a reason. Maybe I can link to a reference, a ticket number that I need this account for. This would be logged with the event. We're going to log it on CyberQP. And then I'll choose which system I want this account for. So if you choose Active Directory, it will show you the privileges that are available. These are whitelisted ones. So this is what you whitelist in the settings. So if you want to allow some domains, some privileges only, then you'll choose that. So let's search, maybe give bigger. So I choose domain admins. So this username, I want it for 1 hour. This is an Active Directory domain admins account. And from here, I'll click on create account. So I'll see very instantly it created a just-in-time account. It gave you a username and password. It shows you when this account's going to be expired, exactly within an hour. It's of type, it's a member of domain admins. So now you can copy username, password, do the task you were going to do. And then after at 10:28, a few things going to happen. It's going to get removed from the domain admin. So you will achieve that 0 standing privileges. It's also going to get disabled. Their passwords also going to get rotated. So you don't have to worry about the rotations with JIT account. You basically enable it, use it, and forget about it. So, and yeah, so for here, you will then be able to see it's enabled, it's expiring within an hour, and yeah, you can use this account.
Robbie,
Again,
you had a question about account like if it's creating a new just-in-time account every time someone goes to log in, wouldn't it create a bunch of user profiles? Could you talk a little bit about how the account is disabled, and so you're not gonna have that C drive users folder with like
right, right.
5,000.
Yeah, so I actually created, enabled an account. I wanted to show
Okay, yeah,
the
continue
state.
there.
So the thing is, this is because I deleted the one, I had to create a new one, but you would not create a new account. because you really just need one account on the domain to access any AD join machine. So for Active Directory, you have one account, and the next time you come here, you'll basically click on Enable Account, and we let you choose the duration, you give a new reason, and we re-enable the same account. We add back it to the domain admins. We will set the expiration to 1 hour ahead. We'll change the password, we'll make it available. So it won't be creating new accounts. It's just using the same accounts. It's only the first time you will create an account from here, and then just keep on using it whenever you need to.
Thanks.
Yeah, so that covers viewing, enabling, disabling, deleting. I would say other thing we're going to add, I'm also covering a few things we're already working on, is early disable. We've seen where you enabled it for a day, and then you finish a task, and you want to say, I don't need it anymore. I don't want you to wait for the 8 more hours to disable it. So you will be able to early disable it if you want. So that's in the works. But that's something we understand maybe a use case. Okay, so let's see what here on my list. So Lex, I'll maybe show you Office 365 and local. So let's go with the...
Give the people what they want, Robbie.
Yeah, with the local one. So let's go there. I click on Create Account. Again, it's auto-generating a username. You can change it if you want. I'll give a reason, and then I will choose local here. And with the local, I get to choose which machine. So you see I have 4 machines here. I can choose which machine I want to access. Let's say this one. And you also see which ones are offline or online. Of course, the machine needs to be online for us to create a JIT account. So I choose the machine, and again, I see the privileges. These are, again, whitelisted ones. I say I wanted an administrator account on this machine, and it should be enabled for 4 hours. And I basically click on Create Account. And what we did was we created a JIT account on that machine. You can, again, copy the username, password, and go access that machine. And again, here, yeah, this account, of course, would be temporary account. Its privileges would be removed, and account would be expired within 4 hours. Even for these accounts, we set the expiration on the machine. So even if our agent is offline, the account would still expire on that date time. So you don't need to worry about, say, our agent going offline and the privileged account sitting there. So that's the local account. So it's saying it's expiring in 3 hours. And similarly, I guess you're getting it now with how you would create an Office 365 account. You'll add a reason. We require this field right now. This is for auditing purposes. Yeah, you specify what exactly you need it for. We do plan to potentially do a PSA integration where you can look up a ticket and link it to this session. But right now, it's a text field that you need to enter. And from here, I'll choose Office 365 and then choose what privileges I want this account for. And actually, I want to show login with this one. So yeah, let's choose Global Administrator and click on Create. So again, through our integration with your Azure domain, it's basically doing the same thing. It's creating an account here, which is a member of Global Administrator. And what I can do here is then copy this username and let me refresh. I don't know what I put there. Yeah, so copy the username, copy the password. So in terms of password, we use these 4 key phrases. So that's the format. So even if you have to read and type it, you would be able to. but it's automatically set up. So I'll copy that. And from here, I'm able to log in into the domain and perform the actions. The thing is, you can set it with the Office, the authenticator, and use it like a passwordless, where what you would do is just enable it from the dashboard, and then it's the same username. You'll be able to get like a passwordless experience with JIT account. Yeah, so from here, yeah, I can go
Wait, so
do my.
Robbie, if you set up that password list,
Mhm.
each time you re-enable that JIT account on that domain, you or on that tenant, you'd be able to log in using that, right?
Yes, yeah. So what you would do is you will enable the account and then just type in your username, or if it's already there, just hit enter. It would send a notification to your authenticator to approve it. So yeah, then you would be, yeah, you get a passwordless experience.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how the of course Office would work. And again, you could have multiple local JIT accounts, one on each machine, but they would be temporarily enabled. Yeah, so that's how the various JIT accounts and the management from the dashboard works. And then for the events, we do log all the detailed event log of when the account was created, disabled, so you get a complete picture. And admins are also alerted of new privileged accounts getting created or enabled. Okay, finally, last one, I want to show how about these settings. So I'm going to disable them. So I click on disable. That's going to disable the JIT account feature. This would be a state you will see if you are not using them already. So what you would do is go here, click on enable, and here you get to choose the settings. So of course, first you have for Active Directory, maybe I just want to allow administrators. And then you choose Office. You can choose a couple of privileged security groups you want to make available to your team and not the others. And similarly for local, you'll be able to choose what privileges you want. And then if you scroll down, you select the access. Who should have access to create JIT accounts in QuickPass? So earlier, my setting was only the super and primary roles, but I could select this, people within this group. And from here, I'm able to add groups. So I have engineers, I have maybe level 3 techs. I select those. So then anyone within those groups would have access to these privileges for the 3 directories. And from here, I would save it. That set up my settings here. And now if I go to, the thing is I'm a primary, so I get access to everything. But if I am a help desk, and if I go to the just-in-time accounts and create one, I would only get access to the whitelisted privileges. So you notice if I select this, yeah, so now I don't get everything, I just get those 5 privileges. And if I was not in the groups that were given access, then I would not get this just-in-time accounts menu even. So that's how you control it. We have a lot more things coming there to give you more control. Things like you can have multiple policies where one set of users have access to one privileges and another set have two others. But I think with this initial settings, one policy that applies to the 3 will give you the control you need to start using the just-in-time accounts.
Robbie, we got a couple questions here. One is for O365, have you encountered any problems with MFA being forced when logging in? Should they not want to use passwordless? It seems to me like if you're just using it one time, you're going to get asked to enroll and you can sort of click out of it. But you could just set up MFA for an account being re-enabled. Is that like if you didn't want to use passwordless, you could just set up an authenticator for it?
Yeah, we've tested with the
Yeah.
authenticator with the passwordless. So that works. You just enable it, and from there on, you're able to just get a notification and approve. I'll go test with if you're using some other MFA on top of that and what the experience may look like. But other than that, we've tested with the authenticator passwordless.
There's a question. Just read it. This may be a moot point, but as I don't have access yet, I have a question about PSA integration. Is it possible today or a future enhancement request already in to have logging of just-in-time account creation / enablements to the appropriate ticket / device it was done?
Yeah, so it's not available now, but we have a request for that. And we do understand it's an important one. So it's hard to give a timeline yet, but it is something we will definitely work on. It's a matter of
So
how
right now it
when it
logs
gets
back
in.
to our logs, right? But not back
Yeah,
to
right
the.
now it logs back to our event. So if a JIT account is created, it will capture the
Mhm.
details of that event. Yeah, so it gets logged into R1, but in future with the PSA integration, that's how it could do.
Now, Robbie, is this all web-based software, or is there a API that someone could set this up with?
I'm not sure I follow. Can you?
Is there an API? Is any of these features available via API? Was a question that came in.
Yeah, no, not right now. We don't have a public API. Yeah, at this point. Yeah.
And then another question, maybe talk a little bit how you can do both roles and groups. But why are you using groups to manage just-in-time use and not login roles?
Yeah, I mean the role-based access is something it works in parallel. So the way our roles work right now, so help desk role do not get access to privileged accounts. So they don't get access to admin accounts and service accounts. And that's the same for just in time as well. A help desk role would not get access to JIT accounts. If you're using, if you're using our QGuard product uh, or the bundle one. Now, if you want to say further, not every engineer should get access to JIT accounts. That's where the setting comes in, where you can add some engineers to a login group and then give them access. So it gives you more flexibility where some of your engineers and managers can have access to JIT and not everyone. So the role-based access is there, basically restricting the help desk from accessing this account. This is more about the engineers and manager roles where you don't want to give everyone access to this.
Great. Well, if you're wrapped up from the demo side of things, we could talk a little bit about how people can get access, early access. I know I spoiled it like 10 minutes into the demo or into the webinar because I couldn't wait. But maybe you or Jared could pull up the slide again and we can give people a way to get started. So we spoke on this already. We currently are offering preview access or early access to just-in-time accounts for local accounts and Office 365 accounts. So if you're a current CyberQP customer, you want to get this enabled, we can get that set up for you. Just request early access. Jared can put the link in the chat again. If you're nervous to scan his QR codes, Jared's a slippery guy, so I don't know if I'd scan a QR code from him. Just kidding. These are clean QR codes. And if you're not a CyberQP customer, you want to get a demo of our software, you could scan that one on the left, or click the other link that Jared will post, and we will get you set up. But thank you all for all the questions today. It was great. Some of them were just comments, but it says we answered 20 questions, which is a lot to cover in a short webinar. So, Robbie, thank you for taking the hot seat again. I love these. These are my favorite.
No, thank you for hosting this. This was good. Well, I'm going to address one point. I think there was a comment from Ken. has there been a request for the administrator or super roles to be able to pre-create the JIT accounts for the technicians? So yes, I've heard some of our early users request that. Um, but I'm still figuring out like what would be the right way to do it. Because if you notice, we allow you to choose the privileges that you want. So we're still figuring out an easy way that would work for most, where you could bulk create the JIT accounts. So I may reach out to you and we can talk more about this as to what would work. We're trying to figure out a way that works for most partners, and then go into designing that. So I've heard that, but it's not possible yet. For now, the tax would need to create it. And as I said, it's a one-time thing, whereas that they're going to address a ticket, they would create it if it doesn't already exist. But then from then onwards, it's just enabling the JIT account. Yeah, so Ken, I'll reach out to you and we can talk more about the use case, and then see how we can design this to solve that problem.
All right. Well, let's wrap things up. Thanks, Robbie.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.